With the season coming to a close today, Coach Boston looks to join a short list of coaches to claim 2 Super Bowl wins within his first 4 years in the NFL. But standing in the way of he and the Jacksonville Jaguars is the Detroit Lions, an underdog story that has some hoping they will pull off the win. And frankly, this is a Lions team that probably should not be here. From the statistics side of things, they are only top 10 in offensive passing yards, 11th at offensive points per game, but everything else is average at best. Meanwhile, the Jacksonville Jaguars coming in here top 5, if not number 1, in all the main categories outside of their passing yards. So to help improve the weak spot there on their offense, they've focused on their pass blocking here today, facing a young defense. In Wild Card Weekend, they would pull off the stops they needed in the fourth quarter to see them by the Philadelphia Eagles 28-24. Against Tampa Bay, they blanked them in the first and third quarter, picking up a narrow win 21-18. But it was their offense that pulled off the win in overtime in the NFC Championship game, taking down the 49ers 44-38. The players to watch out for on that young defense starts with Walt Neal. He led the Lions this year with 94. Right down the middle, you have the big fella in Tyreek Collins. He was a player Coach Boston was even looking at drafting. This year, he hit 21 tackles for a loss. And the youth makes its way over to the offense with Justice Adkins, the second-year quarterback out of South Carolina. A 2-to-1 touchdown to interception ratio and over 4,000 passing yards this year. And over at receiver, Amon-Ra St. Brown dominated with 1,600 yards and 19 touchdowns. Supporting him, you got Elijah Moore, who nearly hit 1,000. Sam Laporta with 633 and 3 touchdowns. You also see a bit of Chad Higgins, the third-year receiver, and Jahmyr Gibbs through the air. But for our Jaguars, who's looking to complete a back-to-back Super Bowl run, they need to play a complete game, unlike what we have seen so far these playoffs. And to help them do that, Travis Etienne, an extra week on back from his injury, didn't look too bad last week. But we're going to be relying a whole lot on Raheem Griffey, as well as Jonah Ellis, as a combination of those two will be filling in for the still injured Josh Hines-Allen. We aren't the only one affected by injury. There are going to be some questions around the players like Terrion Arnold, Jason Jackson, and Travis Strong. But the Lions will 100% be missing Penei Sewell, Aiden Hutchinson, and Jahmyr Gibbs. So with all the pressure then falling on their young quarterback, we'll see if Atkins can hang. But it'll be Jaguar first. Super Bowl underway as Green is set to return. As he finds a little lane to pick up a decent gain on it. It'll be the 31 where Polk and the Jaguar offense will hit the field. And with just Hutchinson missing here on the defensive side, we'll see how Coach Boston looks to attack this front seven. Starting down the middle, and a good flow from the linebackers. Neal already mixed in. We talked about how good his tackling has been this year. See how well he handles coverage as well with an empty set here coming from Polk. Hard count, no one jumps. As he'll look for a check down here, he's got Baker who turns, picking up blocks, trying to get another one there from Thomas. Will go as a first down to the midfield line. With the combination you have there of Neal and Campbell, should be a solid linebacker group to fight against here for the Jaguars. At midfield, it'll be play action for Polk, looking to take the top off the defense, and he took the top off the field, throwing that one to the sideline. Shame, too, because it looked like Thomas actually had a step on the corner. High formation here for Jacksonville, still at the midfield logo. And following Rashawn Hartwell and nearly breaking away was Etienne. Instead goes as a gain of 5 to the 45 with a 3rd and 5. And it's going to be 2 spread to the left-hand side here for Polk. Back in shotgun with a free play with that early jump. Throwing and finding Addison, who will have a bunch of space down inside the 30. You can decline that penalty. For Jacksonville, it's been a pretty smooth opening drive so far, but that's been the case early on in these games. It's been the second half where they've slowed down. 1st and 10 of the 27, sticking back in shotgun and stepping into the pressure. It's crunched down the middle as a flag comes in with a hold to boot. Now, there were several players there for the Lions, but Collins did get there first. The big DT highlighted him pre-game. 1st and 20 as they accept the penalty, though a free play here. Under pressure again, intended for Addison. Once again, we are seeing penalties play a role in a playoff game here. First drive, the refs have already thrown that flag 3 times. 1st and 15 now with that free 5. And Polk having to bounce outside, throws and gets it to Sexton, who can't squeeze it through the contact of Campbell. I think all, including those up in the booth here, thought that was a risky pass to try with Campbell breaking to the outside. I formation here, 2nd and 15 with more play action. And just looking downfield, it's one-on-one, tipped up and tipped out of the hands of Addison, who's been pretty good with those tip balls. He's had a massive 1st down on one here in the playoffs, a touchdown in the latter part of the season. 3rd and 15 for Jacksonville. At the 32, as they set up a screen, it's Etienne to the outside. Hits the spin, it breaks open. He's weaving back in, but tracked down by Neal at the 3. As Brian Thomas Jr. is down on the field, eventually makes his way to the sideline. Looks to be a problem with that ankle. Well, that could be a big miss here for Jacksonville, but right now they're focused on that end zone. Hard count, another free play here as Polk will step up and flow his way in, decline that penalty. Jaguars with 3 free plays that drive, and the last is a touchdown as Jeff Polk scampers in. For the Jaguars, they were extremely close to not even having the chance at a touchdown and having to settle for a field goal. The halfback screen set it up, and that ends with a 7-0 lead. As Detroit heads out, Atkins gonna have to rely a lot on him. We'll see how often they do look to go to the running game. Laporta motions to the outside here, play 1, and it's a dump off to the running back, a one-hand grab with a little shimmy, picking up 5. Now that is Jaleel McKinley, the rookie running back. Shades of Jahmyr Gibbs, obviously not quite to that same talent level, and ripping that one through the hands of Amon-Ra St. Brown. It falls incomplete. Tight coverage there provided by Jarian Jones. And a 3rd and 5, pressure building, and a sack it will be. Walker gets there with help of Junior Alford, and will be a big loss on 3rd down, a 4th and 17. The Lions will have to punt. With a good return on it, Polk and the offense can head out plus side at the 48-yard line. It'll be a bunch to the left-hand side, Addison to the right as Thomas does return. And Polk stepping back up here. He's got a little bit of space, getting that 1st down, a gain of about 13. Of course, it was his scramble last time that got the touchdown, putting the Jaguars in front. Down to the 35, sticking with shotgun looks here. And we'll check this one down to Sexton, not able to dip underneath Campbell, but picks up 5. So far today, seeing a much heavier passing attack than the run. At the 30, hard count. This time Lions do not jump, and it's play action from the Jaguars, squeezing that one into Thomas. Did look like he had to slow up on the route just slightly. It was a little bit behind, but holding on to it has Jacksonville down inside the 15 with a 1st and 10. And make that a little bit closer. Ekwonu jumps after the movement down the middle. Coach Boston learning his lesson from the AFC Championship game that if you see defenders jumping, well, you've got to go. Force them to make that call. As it's a 1st and 5 now down at the 8. Single back set. And a good block there from the rookie tight end in Poole. Sets the edge and going untouched. It is Travis Etienne, giving the Jaguars a 2-touchdown lead here in the Super Bowl. But they've got to keep the pedal to the metal. They slowed up in the divisional round against the Steelers and allowed them to nearly come back in that game. Win to overtime against the Bills. But they've only played for 2 weeks out of the last about month and a half. They rested their team the last couple weeks of the season, then had that bye. We'll see if Adkins can lead the Lions to a bigger drive here, and breaking open is Amon-Ra St. Brown against the zone coverage. But there is a penalty down with a late hit on Adkins. They'll call that on Junior Alford, who was part of the sack to end their last drive. That'll extend the drive here down to the 37. The throw across the middle and held on to by Elijah Moore. First down for the Lions. Now, we did get an update from the sideline. You're going to see Marquez Hughes out here for the front 7. Mason Smith shaken up earlier this drive. Left the field and his day just might be done. As Adkins gets the ball out, staying on his feet. Lions answer back as Saban slips the tackle and finds the end zone. A great play there from Adkins, who just took a big hit late. Stays in there, doesn't take the hit, but delivers a clean throw to the young tight end. That's just exactly why you can't slow up in these kind of games. A big response there from Detroit as it makes the game here 14-7. With 1:06 to go in the first quarter, it's back to the Jaguars, who've had a great passing attack. Getting that one out and finding Brian Thomas Jr. A late flag comes in. Are we going to see another late hit on the quarterback call here? No, instead it's holding. Definitely one of those situations where you feel like if you call one, you've got to call the other. Refs, however, do not agree. It's 1st and now 20. Make that 1st and 15 as they get Collins. I do like that response there from Polk to use his bark there to just get back what he can. Now to the 20 with a pistol set, needing 15 yards here. Polk going down as he tried to step up. It is Dimukeji getting the sack. And it sets up another go for 20. This time, though, on 2nd down. What could be the final play here of the quarter. Hard count nearly got someone to jump. Lofted outside. We'll find Sexton picking up about 8. And will take us to the break with a 3rd and 12 awaiting the Jacksonville Jaguars, who dominated about 80% of that first quarter. Lions got one good drive in there to bring this game to 14-7. With at least 3 quarters still to go, this is anyone's Super Bowl. And a 3rd and 12 here for Jacksonville. Nearly got the free play. Instead, they don't call it as that ball was snapped. Hashal was standing in the backfield. Polk obviously very amped up here. It's just another one of those cases that makes you wonder how something like that can go uncalled, especially at this level. But for the Lions, it's a blessing as it gets them the ball at the 33, trying to tie this game. Laporta in motion as it's going to be a counter. Trying to get to the outside. McKinley, he's tracked down by Devin Lloyd. Before Detroit, it's a good first play. Gets them 6 yards on first. The 2nd and 4, and now the refs decide to throw that flag. A free play and a miss on the throw will still be a 1st down. It was Austin Booker who jumped offside, seeing a little bit more playing time, filling in, at least in this formation, down the middle. A little bit more of an edge man as Laporta gets open. Bad coverage from Cisco, who eventually will track him down at the 27. He gets into it a little bit with Campbell. Right now, for the Jaguars, they got to make sure they keep a level head here. We've obviously seen the Zebras out there not really in favor of Jacksonville, and breaking that one up intended for more. Tight coverage by Campbell. That'll leave things with a 2nd and 10 here at the 27. High form with motion. Laporta all the way across. Back to that counter, though. There's Marquez Hughes ripping the ball free as one of the guards finally jumps on it. He scoops it up to only be taken down by Rakeem Griffey. It's a big loss of 13. Well, the course of that drive was going. You feel like that was a must-have here for the Jaguars. Needing to come through here with one final big stop. It's a halfback screen, and all over it is Hall, beating 3 blockers with the tackle at the line of scrimmage. This will be about a 55-yard field goal attempt. And it's one that they will attempt to actually make this about a 56-yard attempt for Gay. And the snap is back. Kick does not lean back in. He had the power, but it never quite found true. Leaning left the whole way through. Perhaps that's just a little bit of Madden karma for you, as they should have never had that possession in the first place. The 1st and 10. It's at the 47. And it's a big hit in the backfield that saw Etienne go airborne there for a millisecond. Dimukeji yet again with a hit in the backfield. It's a loss of 2 there for Jacksonville, as they come out with a tight shotgun look here, and once again we'll have a free play under pressure. That one falls incomplete. They will take the 5. The Lions, they are definitely getting some pressure, and you got to wonder, that was why Coach Boston was focusing on that pass blocking. He knew it would be a problem. Refs just missed another call there as Polk scrambles, sliding down with the 1st down. Of course, we've seen over the last few years the Lions team get a lot more aggressive, and they're going to play around with those rules, and if the refs let them play that way, they'll continue to play that way. Etienne, though, with space, he busts it outside. Good open field slowdown by Branch, buying time for help to show up. But a great set of blocks set that one up over on the right-hand side. Rayshawn Hartwell opened up the gap. Bunch to the left-hand side here, down at the 25. It's Polk throwing, finding Thomas, who's going to pick up about 7. Once again, good open field tackle coming from Branch. And always appreciate those tackles not being kneecaps. 2nd and 3. 2 spread either side here, and it's Etienne in the backfield taking that handoff. He's got space to the outside. He busts through with one final double team block. Etienne re-gives the Jaguars a 2-score lead here in the 2nd quarter. Make it 21-7. Make sure to show your love to Brian Thomas Jr. battling through injury in this game. He was the big part of that block to open things up. Gives the ball to Detroit with more work to do here. Just over 3 minutes down in Miami before halftime. McKinley with space, but a flag does come down. Looked like there might have been a hold to set up that run. That's indeed what we're going to see, but they actually call it on the right guard, so weak side of that run. Perhaps there might have been 2 holding calls. The 1st and 17, and back to the air. Held on to by Moore through contact. Out the gate here, it looks like they're going to trust Jerrion Jones on Amon-Ra St. Brown rather than Campbell, who's been their better cover man. A whole lot of movement there, though everyone seems to be back on side. Thrown outside, and toe drags Laporta. Once again, he beats the coverage of Cisco, who has struggled against some tight ends this year. 1st and 10, some more movement, but everyone again back on side, but running out of time here. It's the 2-minute warning. 21-7, Duval. With 3 timeouts to spare. Lions have ball, and it's an empty set at the 46. Quick throw to Laporta, taken down by Devin Lloyd after he picks up a solid gain of 7. Under pressure here, but finding the dump off, it's Amon-Ra St. Brown on the drag. Down to the 34. Atkins playing very well under pressure today as he delivers another one as the hit comes in. Emerson takes him down, gain of 2. A little bit surprising it wasn't the 2nd call there for a roughing the passer on Atkins. Dancing around here, Booker will step up to bring him down. Atkins picks up 2. The Lions call their 1st timeout. They have 2 more remaining with 41 seconds on the board. And an empty set here now for Detroit. They're down to the 30 with a 3rd and 6. Delayed blitz. Caught for the first down. Second timeout called. That is Higgins, their young receiver, with 2 first down grabs this drive. As it'll be another pass here to the outside. And caught staying in bounds. It's Elijah Moore. Campbell laid out to try to break up the pass. But he whiffs. And Moore gets the Lions back in the end zone and back within 1 score. And the big thing to keep in mind here if you're Coach Boston is the Lions get ball after half. So while you would love to run the ball here with your lead, take it to the break, you might need to find something here. It starts at the 28. As they look to set up a screen, it's out to Etienne. He's got a blocker in front, and Aquanu setting up a big gain of about 17 out at the 46. With a few timeouts in their back pocket as well, they just need to get to the 40 for at least a field goal attempt. And can't tell who jumped first there, Hartwell or the DT. They will get the Lions. It's Zach Seiler, the culprit this time, moving them 5 yards closer to where they want to be. Still with those timeouts in their back pocket, you start to wonder now, do you have enough time to find your way to the end zone? Well, just having to get rid of that one. Lions have gotten too much consistent pressure for a developing play like that. 18 seconds remain. Still about the midfield line with an empty look here for Polk. As he dances around, that line closes up. He's stacked up, and the first timeout comes with 12 seconds to go at the 50. Lions responding well here, trying to close out the half strong. You definitely got to worry about the first down here, though, if you're the Jaguars. No hard count this time. Quick throw across the middle. That's got Sexton trying to weave back towards the middle. They will let this clock roll on down. Called that final timeout with a second to spare and send out Cam Little. And this to be a 55-yard attempt. Lions missed about a 56-yarder earlier. Cam Little, though, shows them how it's done. That would have been good from probably 58. And it's a 24-14 lead here at halftime in Miami. Your Super Bowl leader right now is the Jacksonville Jaguars, looking to go back-to-back. However, Lions are putting up a good fight. They've gotten away with quite a few penalties in this one. Jaguars haven't been as lucky. But when not getting those penalties, their offense has played a pretty good game. With an apparent short queue of highlights from that first half, ready for halftime, it's that offense going to head right on out here to begin the second half, the final half of play in your season, as it starts with Amon-Ra St. Brown. Now, we did not get to see too much from him in that first half. Seemed to play a little bit more of a supplemental role. And with all the injuries, you really would have thought he would have been the primary focus, but it's been the tight ends as Laporta breaks open again. Emerson tracks him down, but at the opposite 43. That's 72 total yards for Laporta in this game so far. Of course, their other tight end in Saban, he had their first touchdown in the game. And how Atkins got away with throwing that one across the middle, I couldn't tell you. Devin Lloyd, who's been an absolute monster at forcing turnovers this year, just simply didn't see that ball thrown, I guess. First and 10. As they look to set up that screen outside to McKinley, he's taken down quickly by Terrence Yancey. Do like that play call, though, and perhaps with Gibbs a little bit more shifty, they would have found more than about a half-yard gain. Laporta motioning from right back over to left. Blitz is brought, but the pass is just on the money today for Atkins as Booker shaken up, already having to fill in for injury along this defensive front. So the depth definitely going to be tested. Right now we see Rakeem Griffey step down to play some nose tackle here. Not too sure that's really what they're looking for, but when injuries happen, you got to just adjust. Right now, you are missing 3 guys up front: Mason Smith, Josh Hines, Allen, and now Booker. 2nd and 7. As they bring the corner blitz, it opens up the outside for Saban. A second touchdown on the day. Who would have thought tight end 2 would be running for leading scorer here in the Super Bowl, right now tied up with Travis Etienne of the Jaguars, but draws this game within 3. All right, now you got to start adjusting for the tight ends in the second half. Meanwhile, the offense taking the field to start their first drive of the second half. They need to keep bringing in points with a free play here. Let this one fly for Addison. Tipped away in tight coverage. Just an absolutely great job there from the corner. Walt Neal, though, he's caught with that penalty. So 1st and 5 then, as they look to set up a draw here that goes nowhere. Collins shuts it down. And I believe he's the big reason we haven't seen too much of a focus on that running game. The 2nd and 7 here. Hard count. No one jumps this time. As Polk finds a little bit of space, sliding down a few yards short of the line to gain. It'll be 3rd and 3 at the 31. For the Jags, it could be an easy play here. Hard count, and it will be another free first down, though floating this one outside. That's going to be Poole turning up. He's got much more than just a gain of 5. Once again, you can decline that penalty. Seems like perhaps Coach Boston did talk to the head ref at halftime and got that corrected, just saying, hey, keep an eye on those guys because they're jumping early almost every time. Baker tossed down but picks up 9. He's done a great job this year as a supplemental receiver, playing that 3rd spot. Jacksonville offense, it runs deep here. As they look downfield, ball is underthrown and just tipped away. Got to be lucky that one wasn't picked off. Before Duval, you're also kind of upset that one wasn't a touchdown as Addison was wide open. Empty set here, it's 3rd and 1. And they're running a quarterback draw. Polk takes the contact, taken down at about the midfield line. As Sexton looks to be a bit shaken up here for Jacksonville. He's done a great job this year of staying healthy, but exits the field of play. That's just massively unfortunate to see with that offseason program he went through too, to drop some weight and play at just a healthier weight in total. Polk avoids the rush. He's going to scramble again, picking up 8. But for Sexton, it appears his day most likely done heading to that tunnel. So we'll see the rookie in Poole take over on the right side here. For the 2nd and 2, and there goes Polk again, just taking what the Lions give him all the way down to the 22 before he gets flattened. 62 total yards on the day, accounting for sack yardage. I guess that's a great way to counterattack an aggressive defense. If they blitz heavy one way, try to find a way to leak out. The 1st and 10, it's now Etienne. Tries the spin move, and he'll slip between about 3 of them, picking up 5. They've looked his way a little bit more inside the red zone, so down to the 17 here. Expect perhaps a little bit more of Etienne. Shotgun look, though they do look to go to the air here. Scrambling, throwing, and Etienne will have it, though this time it's through the air. With a money ball there from Jeff Polk on the run. Didn't put too much on it, didn't take too much off of it. And he finds Travis Etienne for yet another touchdown, re-widening their lead back up 10. And that's just the big difference between the divisional round and here. Jacksonville keeping that pedal to the metal. Need their defense, though, to get a stop here. Lions have picked up their offensive performance, especially with their tight ends almost leaving an open receiver on the outside. Moore looked to have a step there on Campbell. The ball just came in a bit too high. 2nd and 10 with motion. That's going to be Laporta all the way to the right-hand side. A little switch concept. Ball ricochets, and Devin Lloyd can't get to it in time. Perhaps if he laid out for it, might have been a pick, but 3rd and 10 here. Bunch to the left-hand side as it leaves just Laporta to the right. Throwing, though, downfield, and too tall yet again. Cisco takes away the receiver on 4th and 10. Back inside the 30. You feel like they've got a punt here. I mean, we all know Dan Campbell is an aggressive coach, but even he knows this is not the time to risk it there. Down 10, they do punt it away to the Jacksonville Jaguars at the 31 as it's number 1. Slipping a tackle. Looks like he kind of got stuck on Aquanu there, but picks up 4. As this game goes along, expect them to slip a little bit more of those runs into the game plan here. but it's empty set with a 2nd and 6. Hard count, no one jumps this time for Detroit. And that ball is down, scooped up. It's Harrison who lowers the shoulder on one, but he falls backwards in that same step. And that takes us to the break. 4th quarter, do or die time here. At least that's what you expect. These games have come down to the wire over the last couple of weeks. With the Lions down 10, can they respond? Well, they will be tested out the gate with a 3rd and 7. And snapping that ball with just 1 second on the play clock, it's out to Etienne, who has the first down by an inch. The sideline nearly playing a factor into the stop there. Fortunately for Detroit, it doesn't go their way. 1st and 10 at the 41. And it's Etienne with a little bit of some patience for a short gain. He's only had 10 carries tonight, but averaging just about 5.5 yards per carry. The 2nd and 8 here. Hard count, no one jumps as they go back to Etienne. And that'll be just short of the first down, apparently. A narrow call, I guess, coming in there from the referees, but they do say it is 3rd and inches. They bring out Sammy Perkins as Polk gets them set up at about the midfield line. They bring the blitz. It opens up, though, for Perkins, who slips one. He breaks it outside. He's at the 30, 20, 10. Branch in pursuit, but will not track him down. The fresh legs puts the Jaguars up by 17 here in the 4th quarter. The blocking perfect against the blitz of the Lions. Now, while that's not exactly the nail in the coffin for Detroit, it does put them down 3 scores. So they need to answer quickly here with time running away from them. More with a nice gain out the gate here. Detroit has done a great job against the man coverage tonight with their tight ends, and Moore has done pretty well against it. But inside 6 minutes to go here, you need about a touchdown per 2 minutes as that one's dropped by St. Brown. One of the shiftiest receivers in the league, and all he's done today is just run some drag routes. And that empty set here at 2nd and 10. Jaguars just bring 4, finding McKinley out of the backfield, but taken down at the midfield line. Couldn't get away from Yancey. All right, now the clock is running. Down inside, 5:15 to go. And it's a single back look here. McKinley throws again underneath to Amon-Ra St. Brown. He's picking up a few 3-yard grabs here and there. Ultimately, I can't say he's had as big of an impact on this game as you would have hoped, with the 1,600 yards and finding Higgins across the middle. You could argue he's had the much bigger impact on this game, as he's going to be involved in the bunch on the right-hand side here with motion into the backfield. That's McKinley. Throwing, though, the opposite way and punched out by Jerrion Jones, intended for St. Brown. Perhaps some of these players out here trying to fight for a larger contract. Jerrion Jones definitely not in the top caliber of paid corners, but playing well out there. In fact, you could argue he's played better than Campbell this year. With a 3rd and 6. Open but airmailing your wide open running back. Adkins sets up the Lions with a 4th and 6. And this is one you have to go for. Needing the first down here. It's an awkward blitz. That does not work. Moore, he slips Campbell, fighting down until he's finally pushed out by Hughes at the 5. He's definitely been their primary true receiver today, though the tight ends, they've led the way. 1st and goal. And they look for the run. McKinley with a short gain. Walker brings him down. And they will go hurry up with trips look to the right-hand side. Throwing the opposite way and broken up again. It's Jerrion Jones. He's dominated St. Brown today. Oh, there is still 2 more chances here for the Lions to find that end zone. It's 3rd and 6. As they hand this one off, and it goes nowhere, losing a yard even. And it's hurry up. 4th and goal. Adkins scrambles and finds that end zone. Defense sat back, hoping that they wouldn't find a throw over the top. Instead, Justice Adkins runs it in taking their time to celebrate here, but you still need 2 more scores. This is the Super Bowl, so you don't want to be too harsh on these young guys, but not the time nor the place. Onside is scooped up by Terrace Marshall, who nearly found a gap for a return on it, but starting inside field goal range. For Campbell, it seems that Super Bowl stays elusive as Coach Boston is looking for his 2nd in a row. Starting at the 39, you need to run some clock here. Etienne bounces back across, refs trying to help out Detroit as Etienne nearly broke that one. Would have been for naught, as it is a holding call. At this point in the game, you could arguably say it's not that necessary for the refs to be calling those. 1st and 19, Etienne gets back outside, puts the spin move on, but again, referees get out of these games. They call now back-to-back holdings. The 1st and 29. No flipping the look here. You got Polk as he tries to set up a screen out to Etienne, who again finds some space. Spin move still working out until he meets Campbell, picking up 8. Well, that would take us inside the 2-minute warning with time running away here from Detroit. Down 10. 2nd and 12 here for Jacksonville. At the 41, hard count, no one jumps. At this point, you really just tell the Lions to just sit back and make sure the ball doesn't get by you. That includes Polk, who's done a great job scrambling here today. Has a short conversation there with Collins at the end of it. But a 3rd and 5. And Polk with the keeper tries his own spin move, but Neal sits him down. Detroit calls their 2nd to last timeout with a 4th and 6. And it'll be Cam Little coming on out here for his 2nd 50-plus yard field goal attempt. And that one goes right down the middle. It's the 40 bomb for Duval. Mark it 41-28. And at this point, you just want to make it look like you didn't give up here in the Super Bowl. So with 1:44, the Lions come on out. Or it could be the final time as Higgins catches up to that despite the contact with his own teammate on the crosser. I believe he ran into the tight end. 1st and 10. Speaking of tight end, it's out to Laporta. He's got a gain of 9. Jacksonville, they're just sitting back in coverage, just making sure no one goes over the top. Breaking that one up is Yancey, intended for McKinley. That'll leave a 3rd and 1 here, though obviously going to go for it on 4th down. Picking up the blitz well, passes downfield, and Campbell says, "You're done." He's picking that one off, not able to escape St. Brown and the Lions company, but is the nail in the coffin here in your Super Bowl. Jacksonville showed up throughout. Well, make sure to give some love to the Lions coming into the postseason as a team just above 500. They had to play their hearts out to get to this point. They were ravaged by injuries, but so were our Jacksonville Jaguars. They were missing half of their starting front 7 on defense, but the offense showed up in a massive way here in the Super Bowl after a slow first couple games in the postseason. And for the 2nd year in a row, Roger Goodell will hand that Lombardi over to Coach Madison Boston, claiming his 2nd here for Duval. What does the future hold for him in Jacksonville and some of these players? Is this the end of an era? There's obviously a lot of young talent. We saw Rakeem Griffey step up in this game, play several new positions to help fill in for those injuries. Are we going to see a couple key older guys perhaps move on? All that will be decided in the near future. Now, there will be no special Saturday episode here this week. So next Wednesday, we will get stuck into the off season and continue on our story here. We are not done. We will continue this series until the next Madden does come out, or at least as close to it as possible, depending on the release date and where we are throughout that last season. But we will be deciding the future of this team, and I want to make it tougher for us to dominate like we did this year. So that means for guys that have maybe 1-2 years left on their contracts, they might be looking to leave. If you want to replicate real life, someone here like Junior Alford, for instance, who's dominated, he's still 2 years away from getting a new contract, a better contract, but with his play, he would already be pushing for that. So guys like him would want more money. So it's something we might toy with here in the offseason, is already signing guys to future contracts, something that's not really in the game. We'll see if we could find a way to get that to work here by editing contracts to give them more money. And then in cases like that, if we were giving him more money, does it mean that someone like perhaps Mason Smith, we wouldn't have as much money for, and we would have to move off from some guys? That's the difficulty I want to see. And I think we could even use with a little bit more drama. We've already seen players like Brian Thomas Jr. be a little bit more dramatic, but winning the Super Bowls has kind of overshadowed that. But he hasn't really seen that much production. I feel like with 2 Super Bowl rings and his caliber of talent, he would be pushing hard to be the primary guy here on this team. And right now he's not. It's Addison. So I feel like he would probably request a trade or a increase in money. But what I would love to do is to get your guys' input on a little bit of some storylines that we could add on in. So in the comments below, if there's a player on this team that you think would want to be traded for whatever reason that may be, you leave that down below. If you think that they would want a money increase, or if they just want to be used in a different way, let me know, and we'll try to fold that into this series as we keep it going. Make sure you stick around. If you have not already, hit that bell icon on the bottom right, or scroll down, hit the sub button, and tap that bell icon so you're notified of when all these videos go live, because you do not want to miss out. We got Cha-Cha Vaz tomorrow, but we got a new series coming your way on Friday, a prequel to College Football 26, as we get to know a little bit more of a new coach stepping out onto the scene. A player you have seen, but maybe not one that's going to be the most recognizable. So I'd love to see if you guys remember his play. We'll get that going on Friday, and we'll get the offseason going next Wednesday here with Duval, as they just went back-to-back Super Bowl champion.